Keeping our senses wide open. I don't really feel like journaling right now, so I'm not gonna. Good morning. Coming out of this rut, slump, depression hole, I've been just allowing myself to rest and, most importantly, not feeling guilty for sleeping in. A lot of the things I was struggling with was guilt. Just like always feeling guilty, like I should be doing something else no matter what I'm doing. If I'm sleeping in, I'm like, oh, I'm guilty for sleeping in. If I was on my phone too much, I'd feel guilty for that. If I was even working, I'd feel guilty for that, thinking I should be doing better. And I just wanted to stop feeling bad all the time. So I decided to let myself do whatever I want, when I want, in the moment, and feel good about it. Basically, I've just been focusing on my basic needs this past month to get out of my slump, because I was in such a heightened state of anxiety and depression, and I was trying to do so much and accomplish so much, but I was just drained, completely drained. And I was like, okay, let's take a step back, because I'm clearly trying to do too much and I'm not at the point where I can handle all of this. So I decided to delete all social media and focus on my basic needs first, aka getting enough sleep, eating enough food, drinking enough water, and being active. And also being happy, like doing things that make me genuinely happy so that I can start to feel good again, you know? So I don't have to feel like every moment is like, oh, you know what I mean? Speaking of that, I'm about to go on my morning walk. Let's go on the walk. Man, I love walks. It's like such an easy way to meditate for me, because I feel like sometimes when I sit down and meditate, I just get really in my head and in my thoughts, and it's hard for me to get out of that. But when I'm walking, it gives my body something to do. So I'm like, my brain is focused on walking and also like looking at the different things around me, like the branches, the leaves, the butterflies, the birds. So it's like it gives my brain something to focus on so that I can like be present instead of being in my head. And that's like the whole goal of meditation, is being present and, you know, watching the thoughts. But sometimes it's hard to just watch the thoughts without getting like really engaged and lost in the thoughts. So yeah, that's why I like walking. All right, my computer is hot. It's burning up and it's not working. Of course, my computer never works right before I need to do a call. Literally a minute late to the call. Oh my god. My computer sounds like it's about to take off into space. It's okay. Not in a rush. We're good. not getting stressed right now. I'm sweating. Hey Katie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, nice to meet you. Thanks for hopping on the call. So, just got off a call with a designer, hiring a designer to help me and Alex with a new company we're starting. So we're very excited about that. It feels good to have something that I'm passionate about to work towards. I feel like for a while I've kind of been doing what I thought I wanted. I was very confused on what I actually wanted. It almost felt like I was taking on expectations of others or taking on others' goals and making them my own goals instead of actually going after what I truly want. Literally over the past month of me like not being on social media and just focusing on my health and wellness first, a lot of clarity has come through. Now that I can't distract myself with social media and, insecurities, fears, worries are coming up, I can actually get to the root of them and understand like, okay, where are these coming from? Why do I feel this way? Why am I afraid of this? And what do I actually want in life? I don't know, it just feels nice to have a little bit more clarity. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still doing the work, still doing the inner work to like figure out what I truly want. And I think, it's always evolving. What you want is always evolving and changing. What I had wanted 3 years ago, I had, but I grew out of it and I didn't want it anymore, at least in that way. So I needed to really like sit down and reflect, like, okay, do I still want this, or am I continuing to do this because people expect it of me? And just because I wanted it a few years ago and don't want it now, that doesn't mean it's a failure. That doesn't mean that you're like, oh, you're changing, you're going back on what you wanted. Like, no, it's totally 100% okay to change your mind. I've always said this, instead of chasing like a passion or having one passion, follow your curiosity. Like, what in this moment are you curious about learning more about or doing more about? And I think in this society, we have this idea that like, oh, we need to have this one main business idea or career goal and go after our entire lives. But then maybe a few years goes down the line and you enjoyed it for the time that you were doing it, but then you don't enjoy it anymore. And now you feel like you're stuck with it because, oh, I chose it, I have to do it. Fuck that. No. If you want to change your mind and do something different, do it. Changing your mind is not a bad thing. I got hungry. I've literally been working all day. Wow, this day has gone by so fast. This is crazy. I wasn't expecting to work this much today, but you know what? It feels good. It feels good. I started therapy about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's the best thing I've done for myself so far. I've done a lot of things. Yoga, meditation, reading lots of books. Honestly, therapy is where it's at. It just is nice to have someone else to talk to other than your friends. Someone has an unbiased opinion, who can genuinely give you feedback, but also like who understands the brain and psychology and science to like understand how your brain's working. But ever since I started therapy, I swear I've been understanding more and more parts of myself and understanding why I am the way I am. So that's cool. I highly suggest to start looking into therapy because it's already changed my life so much just in a month. Speaking of, my therapy call is starting now. I had an epiphany about my life.
Did you? Okay.
Sounds dramatic, but no, I had like a memory from childhood just come up randomly that was that tied into what we were talking about. What the fuck? Somebody just poop on my sketchbook? What? Gross. So therapy went well. Essentially, I had this memory from childhood come back up out of nowhere. And I realized that it was like a core memory, traumatic memory, that dictates the way I live my life now. So that's that. And when I say traumatic, I think that word, people usually think like something extremely bad. But honestly, anything can be trauma, even if it's just like a teacher yelling at you, like mine. It's still trauma because your brain latches onto it at such a young age when it's vulnerable and it doesn't understand certain aspects of life. And you can build belief systems around that situation from your past. I've learned that these ages from 0 to 7 are when you form your belief systems for life. And so when you have these big experiences and big emotions when you're young, it can build a way for you to react to things when you're older. This memory came up and I realized, wow, this is why I act the way I act and I respond to these situations. And it was a huge epiphany, like, whoa, moment for me. And so I talked about it with my therapist and kind of just connected the dots to like the behaviors I have now and why I'm afraid of certain things and how it was triggered from that point in my life. And so she said that I should just draw, first of all, write about that experience, write about how that felt, like in poetry. Like that's kind of my way of like getting things out, and then also drawing. So I decided I was done with work today, so I decided to get outside again, sit in my backyard and draw. Honestly, I really love just sitting outside and drawing, and it's like a therapy for me. Like I'm not trying to draw anything specific or trying to draw to make it look good. I'm drawing to release emotions and to understand parts of my psyche. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Wow, today was a really good day. I was just journaling and reflecting on how far I've come just in this past month. My mental health was not okay, and I was just in such a negative mindset, constantly feeling guilt, shame, and just felt terrible all the time. Even though it seemed like I had everything I wanted, I was still very unfulfilled. And it was because I was placing my happiness and my worth on external circumstances and external situations. And so these goals that I set for myself a year ago that I reached, that I thought would give me happiness, didn't give me happiness. And I came out feeling unfulfilled and disappointed. Something I realized about myself too was I tend to live in the future. I'm very good at visualizing the future and I know what I want in life. However, I tend to live in that future imagination, fantasy, versus living in reality. And so when I place too much importance on my future goals, I end up being disappointed with my present day reality because constantly striving for the next goal, the next manifestation, the next thing that I want to have in my life, the next stage of life. If you're constantly striving for the next stage of your life, then you're never in your present moment. And then when you reach the next stage of your life, you're going to be thinking about the next stage and the next stage. So it's this constant cycle of striving for the future and placing your happiness in the future goals that you're going to achieve, instead of just being happy with where you're at right now. And that doesn't mean you can't have goals for the future and strive for something greater. It just means that don't live there 100% of the time. Don't live in your daydream. Don't live in your fantasy. Find the happiness and the joy here and now, because I promise you, if you aren't happy where you're at right now, you're not going to find it there. You're not going to find it in the future. You're not going to find it in your goals attained. The only place you can find happiness is in the present moment within yourself. I'll do a podcast episode on this. It's too much. I could go on for hours about this, but I'm gonna do a podcast episode about this. Anyways, this is me coming out of a rut, focusing on myself, focusing on my basic needs, having a solid morning routine, getting present throughout the day, doing things that I love and genuinely enjoy, and not forcing myself to work too hard or to work towards something, and just really just feeling my energy and where I'm at and what I feel like doing in the moment. And then of course having a solid nighttime routine is been really helpful for me getting out of a rut. And I feel so much better. Just 30 days later, I feel like a completely new person. I don't even know what time it is. I literally haven't checked my phone in 2 hours. Is it even time to go to bed yet? Oh my god, it's 9:30. It's 9:30. I'm literally a grandma.
Distracting themselves to the point of being completely phased out of their lives. People who are constantly busy are running from themselves. Being busy is not a virtue. It only signals to others that you do not know how to manage your time or your tasks.